Download this code from codegive.com, link in the description below. The problem number of ways to split an array, leetcode 2270, involves finding the number of ways to split an array into two non-empty parts such that the sum of the elements in each part is equal. Problem statement. You are given an integer array nums. You need to find the number of valid ways to split nums into two non-empty parts such that the sum of the elements in the first part is equal to the sum of the elements in the second part. Example. Input asterisk. Output asterisk. Explanation asterisk. You can split the array into 1, 2, and 1, 2, 1, which both have a sum of 3. You can also split it into 1, 2, 1, and 2, which also sums up to 3. Approach. 1. Calculate the total sum. First, calculate the total sum of the array. If the total sum is odd, it is impossible to split the array into two equal parts, so return 0. 2. Find the target. The target for each part after a split will be total_sum/2. 3. Use prefix sum. Iterate through the array to create a prefix sum and keep track of how many times you've seen the target sum as you go. Each time the prefix sum equals the target, it indicates a valid split point. 4. Count valid splits. For each valid split point, increase the count of valid splits. Implementation. Here's a Python implementation of the above approach. Explanation of the code. 1. Calculate total_sum, we compute the total sum of the array. 2. Check for odd sum, if total_sum is odd, return 0. 3. Iterate through the array, we iterate through the array while maintaining a prefix_sum. 4. Count valid splits, for each index, we check if the prefix_sum equals the target. If it does, we increment the count of valid splits. 5. Return count. Finally, return the count of valid splits. Complexity analysis. Time complexity, O, n, where n is the number of elements in the array. We make a single pass through the array. Space complexity, O, 1, since we are using a constant amount of extra space. This approach efficiently counts the number of ways to split the array while ensuring that the solution adheres to the constraints and characteristics of the problem. Problem statement, number of ways to split an array, leetcode 2270. The problem number of ways to split an array asks you to find the number of ways to split an array into two non-empty parts such that the sum of the elements in the left part is less than or equal to the sum of the elements in the right part. Problem description. You are given an integer array nums. You need to determine how many ways you can split this array into two non-empty parts such that the sum of the left part is less than or equal to the sum of the right part. Approach. 1. Calculate total sum. First, calculate the total sum of the array. This will help in determining the right part's sum based on the left part's sum. 2. Iterate through the array. You will iterate through the array, maintaining a running sum for the left part. For each index, calculate the left part's sum and use it to determine if it satisfies the split condition. 3. Count valid splits. For each index, if the left part's sum is less than or equal to the right part's sum, increment your count of valid splits. Steps to implement. 1. Compute the total sum of the array. 2. Initialize a variable to keep track of the left sum. 3. Iterate through the array and update the left sum for each index. 4. Compare the left sum with the right sum, which is total_sum, left_sum. 5. Count the number of valid splits. Python code example. Here's how you can implement this in Python. Explanation of the code. 1. Total sum calculation, total_sum equals sum, nums, computes the total of all elements in the array. 2. Loop through the array, the loop iterates through each element of the array except the last one, to ensure the right part is non-empty. 3. Updating left sum, left underscore sum plus equals nums I keeps track of the sum of elements from the start up to the current index. 4. Calculating right sum, right underscore sum equals total underscore sum, left underscore sum gives the sum of elements from the current index plus 1 to the end of the array. 5. Condition check, if left underscore sum equals right underscore sum, it means the current split is valid, so we increment the count. Complexity analysis. Time complexity, O, n, where n is the number of elements in the array. We only loop through the array once. Space complexity, O, 1, as we are using a constant amount of space for variables. Conclusion. This approach efficiently counts the number of valid splits of the array by maintaining a running sum and checking the condition in a single pass. By following this method, you can solve the problem with optimal time complexity and minimal space overhead.